Hello, it's Kay Lowry, and I'm here today to continue our series on Path to Songwriting. We're in Level 4. You are going to need your Level 4 Primo Theory book. And today we're going to be talking about eighth rests. And I have a game to show you in addition to telling you how we are going to complete the series in our Primo Theory book. But let's get started. As you have your Primo Theory book, you're going to need to turn to page 16. I will share my screen so you can see what I'm looking at when I look at page 16. Here it is. So at the beginning of page 16, here is a box that talks about the eighth rest. You'll notice what it looks like. To me, it's like a fancy number 7 with a little curly Q on the front. This box lets us know an eighth rest gets half a beat in time signatures with 4 as the bottom number. An eighth rest is the same value as an eighth note. So you might remember from our previous lesson, we were talking about counting beats when we have 2 eighths, 2 eighths, 2 eighths, 2 eighths. Those are eighth notes. We can count them 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Same with the rest. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Each of these combinations of notes and rests equals 1 beat. When we have a rest, eighth, 1 beat. Or eighth rest, 1 beat. Or 2 eighth rests, 1 beat. Now we come to number 5. Write the total number of counts in each example. You will want to add all of these up and put the number in the blank. Pause the video and complete number 5. Take a look at our next section, drawing the eighth rest. The eighth rest is placed between the second line and the fourth line of the staff. So here is an example for you to try to practice drawing your eighth rest. You'll be able to do it a lot better than I can on my computer. You want to start on the dot. The dot is in the third space, and you want to make your number 7. Now on my computer it highlights it, but of course when you have a pencil, you'll be able to just draw all the way across, and before you know it, you won't even need that dot. You will know exactly where to place your eighth rest. Pause the video and complete number 6. Now let's take a look at the next page, page 17, counting eighth rest. We've already talked about this, how we can count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and just like we did for eighth notes. Whether we have the eighth note first or whether we have the eighth rest first, we still count it the same. So we're going to clap these rhythms as we count aloud. But before we do, I'm going to choose the first one in each section and do a little game for you. This first selection is in 2/4 time. Now, I have a friend who made a game for me, and she made it out of can carriers and lids, and she printed 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we will stop sharing the screen and then kind of switch our camera around. Hopefully we can see this here. So we see 1 and 2 and. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to take a look at my book here, and we're going to take a look at the very first rhythm in number 7. It's quarter rest eighth. And so if I were to look at that and try to map it out, I'm going to clap on beat 1, and then I still have that quarter right here. But then on beat 2, there is a rest, and then I clap on the and of 2. So Here is what my example would look like if I tap it on my fall board. 1 and 2 and. The second measure is simply 2 quarter notes. So I need to take my lid and put it over here, and my example is 1 and 2 and. So the whole example of the first one goes like this. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Take a moment, pause the video, and I would like you to clap and count all of the examples there in the section 7. Now let's take a look at rhythms in 3/4 time. So for 3/4 time, I'm going to need an extra beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Let's take a look at the first measure, and we're still in section 7, but let's take a look at the first measure in 3/4 time. We have a quarter note, that's 1 and. We have a rest on beat 2, and then we have 8, 2 eighths. So now I have mapped out 1 and 2 and 3 and. Here's how it sounds. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Measure 2 starts out the same, 1, and then we have a rest, and we have a and, 2 and. It's actually the very same. So we could count this and do it with a repeat sign, and it would be exactly correct. Here's how it goes. 1 and 2 and 3 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Pause the video. Take some time to tap the rhythms in 3/4 time. All right, let's get back to taking a look at 4/4 time. Now, instead of me showing you all of these, you could probably think of a way that you could make this game at your house. Maybe you even do it with some solo cups like we use for rhythm cups, and you write on the top 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Or you could maybe think of some other object. You could do it with egg cartons. You could do it with all kinds of things. And you could put marbles, pebbles, rocks. There's a lot of fun ways to mark out rhythms and to try to find out where the rests are. But let's take a look at the last example on the bottom of page 17. So we're looking at 4/4 time. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and tap out for you on my fall board what it sounds like for the whole entire first line. I'm just giving it for you. If you want to tap it along with me, here we go. 1, 2, and here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Eighth notes and eighth rests are really fun. Here's the last example. Ready? 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 4 and. So take some time, stop, and play with those rhythms. Those are 8 notes and 8th rest, and I'll see you next time when we study more about intervals.